Good morning, children. Let us begin today's class with the topic movement along the supply curve and shift in the supply curve. It is also change in quantity supplied and change in supply. It could also go by this name. So today's topic is change in quantity supplied and change in supply, or we also call it movement along the supply curve and shift in the supply curve. Now the first we take movement along the supply curve, which is change in quantity supplied. Movement along the supply curve is change in quantity supplied. Write down the definition for this. Change in quantity supplied refers to an increase or decrease in the quantity supplied of a commodity in response to an increase or decrease in its own price other things remaining constant. It is indicated as a movement along the supply curve. Symbolically, it can be written as the supply for commodity X depends on the price of its good. Now the change in quantity is of two types. The change in the quantity is of two types. First, extension or expansion of supply. Extension or expansion of supply, and second, contraction of supply. First, extension or expansion of supply. Ready? Okay. When the quantity supplied of a commodity rises due to a rise in its price other factors remaining constant, it is called expansion or extension of supply. It is an upward movement on the same supply curve due to a rise in its price. The diagram for that would be we have a supply curve, upward rising. When the price is this much, the quantity is this much. When the price increases, the quantity will also increase from Q1 to OQ1. This is the quantity supply on the x-axis and this is the price. So what do you see? There is if this is point A and this is point, let's say B, there is an upward movement from A to B. And why did this happen? Due to the rise in its own price. Remember, supply is dependent on its price. If the price increases, the supply increases. There is a positive relationship, direct relationship. So this is called movement or extension or expansion of supply. And there is an upward movement on the same supply curve. Why? Because of a rise in its price. Price was first OP, the quantity supplied was OQ. When the price rises from OP to, let's say, this is OP1, now the quantity increases will be OQ1 from OQ. This is extension or expansion. Second, complete a diagram. The second, contraction of supply. Write down. When the quantity supplied falls due to a fall in its prices, other factors remaining constant, it is called contraction of supply or fall in the quantity supplied. It is a downward movement on the same supply curve due to a fall in its price. And the diagram would have to be x-axis, y-axis, the supply curve, price. This was the price, this was the quantity. O, price decreases. There will be a decrease. We call this A and we call this B point. There is a backward movement or a downward movement on the same supply curve. This is quantity supply and this is price. Contraction. Okay, next. Now we come to change in supply or shift in supply. Change in supply or shift in supply. Write down. Change in supply refers to the increase or decrease in supply of a commodity in response to the change in the other determinants, in response to the change in the other determinants of supply, in brackets you can write down price of related products, price of factors of production, etc. Brackets closed. Other than the price, of the same commodity. It is a shift. It is a shift formation of a new supply curve due to the change in the other factors when the price of the product remains constant. So change in supply is also two types: increase in supply and decrease in supply. First, increase in supply. When supply of a commodity rises due to change in the factors other than the price, for example, decrease in the price of related products, comma, improvement in technology, etc. Brackets closed, is called increase in supply. Producers or suppliers are willing to supply more of a commodity at its existing price. For example, we'll say price and quantity supplied. Let's say when the price was, let's say, 10, he was willing to supply 100. Price is still 10, but then he is willing to supply 150. Not because of its price, but because of the other factors. So in this case, we will get a new supply. The diagram is, this is your supply curve. and you get a new supply curve to the right, increase in supply S1, S1. Let us assume price be the same. So the first quantity supplied was OQ, second commodity. When the price is same, you go to OQ1. Price remains constant. But what are the other factors? Let's say improvement in technology, price of related products, all these are changing. We will get a new supply curve. This is quantity supplied on the x-axis, quantity supplied, and this is the price on the y-axis. This is called increase in supply. Second, decrease in supply. When supply of a commodity falls due to the change in the factors other than the price, for example, in brackets, increase in the price of related products, increase in the price of related products, comma, decrease in the number of firms, decrease in the number of firms, etc. Brackets closed. It is called decrease in supply. Producers or firms are willing to supply less of the commodity at its existing price. And the diagram, your x-axis, your y-axis, your supply curve, the original supply curve, the new supply curve to the left, which indicates the decrease S1, price there is no change, this is the quantity, origin, Q1, quantity supply, price. There is a backward shift in the supply curve. Price remains the same, The schedule could be price and quantity supplied. Price was 10, he was first giving 100. Now price is 10, but he will be supplying 50. This come down. This was up, this was down. Price has nothing to do with it. Price is the same. It depends on the other factors. There are many factors which affect supply. We learned that in the last class. So any other factor besides price, other than price, will affect supply. Okay, and we'll stop today's class till here. The next class tomorrow we will take elasticity of supply as the next topic, and we will meet tomorrow for the next class. We will stop today till here.